Hi everyone, this is Megan Davis from Disarm Your Heart, and I'm sitting here with Cass Wendell from the Wellness Rookie. And Cass has a really cool event upcoming here in New York that she's going to tell you more about. And then we're getting into conversation and talking about how you prep for conversations in an interview setting and in social settings where you haven't met people before. So with that, Cass, tell us a little bit about the event that you have coming up here in New York.
So the event is called Girl Talk, and I like to call them quote unquote sweatworking events. So it's a healthier form of networking. And it's a women's wellness event. There's about 40 of us that are coming together at Lululemon in the Flatiron, which we're here right now at Hub 17. And I am actually hosting this event with another gal in town, and her name is Shayna Tyler. And she's a life coach and an entrepreneur and a yogi. She does all the things. She's basically my twin in New York City, and she mirrors what I do back in Bozeman. So Girl Talk is happening on Saturday, August 11th, and 40 women are coming together for a yoga session, and then we have a small group discussion where people can really get to know one another. And then we're going into some really healthy food and mocktails and drinks provided by our amazing sponsors. And then we get into the panel discussion, which I'm moderating, and it's my favorite part of these events. So I'm the moderator, and we have 4 panelists on board, and we talk about things that I always say actually matter. So it's not necessarily the surface level questions. We dive a little bit deeper. And the theme around this event, since it is sponsored by Bumble, is bridging the gap between industries and kind of connecting together on one common theme of health and wellness. So that's a little bit about Girl Talk.
Very cool. And I love the bit about having those genuine conversations with the hosts and also encouraging genuine connections in a healthy setting. Can you tell me a little bit more about when you're prepping to hold these conversations and prepping for these meetings, how you prepare yourself and some tips that you use to, I guess, to spark more genuine types of conversations with your hosts and your guests?
Yeah. So this time around was a little bit differently because it's actually my first time hosting a Girl Talk event not in my hometown. So I don't know really any of these panelists, and I have no connection with anybody coming to the event except for a couple. So to get ready to kind of facilitate these conversations and make people feel really, really comfortable, I had to do a lot of research. So all of our panelists have their own brands and businesses. So I really dove into their social media channels, their websites, their blog. I looked at what they're currently doing. I really focused on their story because I think that's really important to give people a platform to actually share their story. And then I obviously engage with them on social media and their platforms. And then I kind of like to have conversations before the event actually happens, which with each of these people, and just to kind of give them a sense of who I am, make them feel really, really comfortable, instead of kind of just blindsiding them on the day of the event and say, hi, I'm here, let's do this. Just makes them feel a lot more comfortable. And I always make sure that I give kind of a rough outline of these conversations and questions that I'm going to be asking, and I will send it to them beforehand and kind of make sure they're comfortable and to make sure that I'm really authentically sharing their story by asking them certain questions. I also make sure that, if there's anything that's off limits, if they don't want to talk about something, or if there's a topic that they really, really want to dive into, I will make sure to add it to the queue too. So just making sure people have a connection with me before they actually physically meet me.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I love that you're talking about like setting the environment. I think that's huge to make sure that people are actually comfortable telling their stories, and then also doing research beforehand so you can kind of get to know like the threads of stories and how they will kind of weave together and come out at the actual event.
Yes, exactly. And it was also really important for me and Shayna to have a really varied panel and a really good mix of people from all different backgrounds, from all different stories at the event as well.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to attending. And also touching back on social media, kind of crazy that you and I, in a lot of ways, were brought together via social media and mutual friends and connections. But kind of going off of that, Disarm Your Heart we've utilized social media a lot to reach out to audiences that we didn't have access to before, and also to connect with really inspiring artists and entrepreneurs like yourself. And through these interviews, we're also working to define what Disarm Your Heart means. It's kind of vague and broad, but there's some like essence to it. So in your words, based on kind of the conversations that we've had and your impressions, what does Disarm Your Heart mean?
Yeah, it means a lot, but I think the first thing that comes to my mind is being vulnerable. Vulnerability is really, really scary and terrifying, and not a lot of people can be vulnerable. But I think it's one of the most empowering things to actually authentically show up and authentically share your story, especially if you're an emotionally closed-off person like I once was. And that's where this whole Wellness Rookie blog kind of came about, is giving myself a really safe space to be vulnerable, to share my story, and kind of get what I'm feeling internally out. So that's what Disarm Your Heart means to me.
I love that. I love that definition. Thank you so much, Cass, for your time, and look forward to the event upcoming.
Thank you so much.